Greetings and thank you for listening to When the Moment Chooses You. I talked about my story as a veteran, being in the United States Army for a few years, and it truly has been a life changing experience for me. And I believe that I'm living off of the fruit of the discipline that and the resilience that I learned within that military service. I wanted to invite you to something. This is actually the first thing that I'm going to do as my business. I do have a new business that will be launching in 2025, but I wanted to do a class on resilience. And this particular class is called Resilience Defined. Thriving through adversity. And it's a master class. And we're going to be learning practical strategies to build resilience and to recognize and address responses to our setbacks. And so it's just a little power hour of resilience, an infusion of a dose of resilience for you. It is a free masterclass, so I would love to invite you out to it. I will put the link in the description. Feel free to jump on. It will be in the evening time, so it's going to be November 19th from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So join it, and I hope to see you in my masterclass. Greetings, and welcome to When the Moment Chooses You. I am your host, Coach Charlene, and I have compassionate, courageous conversation. I love to unpack destiny moments and inspire others to move into action about those things that they are called to disrupt, to transform. I love interviewing trailblazers and change agents that dare to dream, that dare to disrupt the system that they were in. So today, though, I'm going to be doing a solo episode. And today, actually, that I'm recording this is Veterans Day. And so I wanted to do a little bit about my story as a veteran. And thank you for all of the people that reached out to say Happy Veterans Day. But let me share my story about how I became a veteran and what that all looked like. But, as I was going throughout school, I've shared some of this on prior episodes, but I thought I'd do one specifically about the military and the lessons that I learned in the military. And so 17, I was about 17 years old, going to school. And I was pondering, how you are in that teenage year, like, okay, what do I want to do with my life? What do I want to do? We didn't really have like an excess of money. So I didn't know about school or anything. So I began to start going to the mall just to kind of get away and think. And so one day I was at the mall and I was walking around the mall, and upstairs there was this big sign, and it said United States Army College Fund, $25,000. And of course, as a 17-year old, I was like, oh my gosh, there's the money right there. I can use that to go to college because it says something about Army College Fund. Now, I have to say that I graduated number 8 out of my class in high school. I did phenomenally well, really phenomenal grade points. I mean, literally got A's and B's all throughout. But there was really no resources. There were not necessarily like a lot of counselors, or I don't even know why I didn't get an opportunity to have a one on one to talk about my career path and things like that. But nevertheless, I see this sign, I go in, and I'm just like moving with the current. I had no idea what I was doing necessarily. I just know it was calling me into it. And so I went in and listened to the guy, and he was telling me about, oh, this is the early entry program, and you can sign up. I know you're in high school right now, so as soon as you get out of high school, then we'll send you off, and you'll do boot camp and all of the other things. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to sign up. Now I have to tell you, I did not talk to my mom or dad about it at all, which probably was a mistake because in retrospect, I think about it and I wish I would have gave them time to grieve me leaving. And so, unfortunately, I didn't do that because I think probably there was a little undercurrent of being fearful, but telling them, hey, you're a daughter that's never been anywhere is going to be going to the United States Army. Matter of fact, I'm going to be moving across the world. And so, anyway, I graduated. I kind of sort of forgot that I had signed up for the military, to be honest. So, as you can see, like I literally went into it because I really needed the money for school, which resulted in so many beautiful lessons that I've learned. I'm so glad that I did it. I believe that my life is better because I joined the United States Army. And so my graduation day came, I left. And then I got a call from the recruiter about a week and a half prior to me getting ready to leave. And I think it was time for me to go do physical and all that other stuff. And so that's when I was like, Mom, Dad, hey, I did a thing. I joined the army. And I mean, it was so devastating. I was so hurt because I saw my mom hurt. And I saw it in my dad's eyes too, but he was not like the emotional one that's going to show you up front. And so we loved on each other. I mean, it was really hard to leave my sibling, really hard to leave my family, like literally to get away and to not see them for a period of time. And off Charlene goes into the military. Now, I have to say that that was the most important moment of my life because here I am, have never left my region at all, have never literally left my house because I didn't really spend the night over other people's house. I mean, my mom and dad protected us quite a bit. If it was family members, maybe, but all of us slept over there. So my point being, I had never been away from home. And so here I am going in this big world, flying out to Fort Jackson, South Carolina to do big boot camp, and I know no one. And so it was something else. I get there and I have no idea what I'm going to expect. All I've heard is the different things that happen when you're in the military, with the drill sergeants and things like that, but I really have no concept. But when we get there, I noticed that now I'm a shy person at that time. I did not speak. I hated talking in front of people. I did not do any of that. I was very, very shy and an introvert and all of that. But I'm telling you, after we get there, they usher us in there in these big old trucks that look like cattle trucks. Like there was only one window there, and the light flashed on the drill sergeant's face. And I was thinking to myself, what have I gotten myself into? And I look at the faces of the other women that were in there. They did not look like me, really. This was the first time that I was launched into a diverse population of people because where I came from, in a sense, the blacks were on one side and the whites were on the other side. And so this introduction to culture was really, really amazing at this particular point in my life when I was 18. And so we get to there, and he's like, grab your suitcase and run and get in line. I'm like, who is this dude? Well, who is he talking to? You can't tell me what to do. But I quickly saw that, oh my gosh, I better line up and do what they're telling me to do. I am way too far away from home and can't do anything about this right now because this is something that I said yes to. And so, anyway, I do that. And it was the most amazing thing, I have to tell you guys. Like some of the powerful lessons that I learned is discipline. I learned discipline so much so that it has carried throughout my life to live a more disciplined life. Now, I am a smiler. Everybody knows me, knows that I love to smile, and I think I've been like that for quite some time. I'm just generally a happy person, and I love smiling because it feels good. It releases endorphins and all of that. So here we are in the platoon. The name of our platoon was the Black Horse. And it was all of these different nationalities, different women, all of us like confused about, okay, why are we getting yelled at? And all of a sudden, he gets to me. He's like, he has us lined up to check out our uniform and things like that. And he gets to me, and I'm standing there, and I do have a smile on my face. And he says all of a sudden, Private, what are you smiling about? And then I bust out and I start laughing. And he said, drop and give me 10. Here I am down there trying to do 10 push ups, but I had never done a push up in my life. And so I literally left there doing 60 push ups. So it was really a learning process, but I had to like really get a grip of even my emotional state because that smiling, which obviously I used as a coping mechanisms to get through the hard times was starting to actually get me in trouble because when I couldn't quite control it, and he kept saying, "Okay, drop, give me 10." And then I think I remember one time he said, "Drop." I mean, the whole platoon to drop, and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm gonna get killed when I get back to the barracks." So let me stop it. So I had to learn discipline and the physical agility, and I love that I went into the military. Here is my major lesson: to transform from a civilian to a soldier, one who looks out for everyone. And so there were these, I think there were seven of them. There were like core values or um, mantras or whatever I can't quite remember since it's been so long ago, but it was like the acronym leadership. And these are the things that we had to memorize so that we can transform from being the civilian who was selfish and did what we wanted to do into this soldier who has to now listen to protect the whole troop. And so they were loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. Now, one moment that I will never forget is we had to go into the gas chamber. And in the gas chamber, they would have us, we have our gas mask and all that on, but we would have to take off our gas mask when they got to us. And they would say, "Give me number six or number one," or whatever it was. And in the midst of the gas chamber, we would have to speak out whatever that thing is. And as you breathe in the gas, it was horrific. It was the most torturous thing that I have ever dealt with in my life. I'll never forget that because I remember all of us were like crying, and I mean, our eyes were watering, and I mean, just dripping from every edifice that we had. So it was really something else. But that was a moment that I remember. But what I remember more so about it is how we had to memorize the different core values or the leadership acronym: loyalty, be faithful to the U.S. Constitution, the Army, your unit, and other soldiers. It was duty, fulfill your obligations and complete all tasks to the best of your ability. It was respect, treat people as they should be treated with dignity and honor. Selfless service, put the welfare of the nation, the army, and their subordinates before your own. I'm going somewhere. Honor, live up to the army values and act with integrity. Integrity, do what is right, both legally and morally, upholding strong moral principles. And then the personal courage, face your fear, the danger, and the adversity, both physical and moral. So we had to recite those in the gas chamber. And so, anyway, that's a story all by itself. So we did that successfully, got through it. It was only a few seconds for us to recite and then put our gas mask back on, and then we passed that particular test. But that was one of the most memorable ones. So as I began now as an older person, having learned so much about life and retiring early July 5th, I wanted to go back to those values that were instilled in me by the United States Army um, at the age of 18 and 19, because I think it was 18, 19 while I was in there. And so I started reading them again. And the reason why I'm bringing this up, I want to show you how I put a twist on them for my life now, because I've learned some things since then. Loyalty, be faithful to the U.S. Constitution, the Army, the unit, and the other soldiers. Now, yes, if you're going to be in the military, you definitely want to do that. Whatever you have to do, you have to have loyalty to that particular thing that you're doing, whether it's a vision of a workplace that you have. If you are at a workplace and they have a vision, I mean, really, if you're going to work for that organization, you really need to align to that vision of the organization. And so you can't be complaining and boohooing and ahhing when something is not necessarily going your way. You chose to say yes to this particular organization. And so you have to make sure that your values line with that particular organization's, or just do the work that you need to do. But loyalty. But I want to twist it a little bit and say be loyal to what you have been called to do. Be loyal to the assignment that's on your life. What service are you going to be rendering to someone? What have you been called to do to impact humanity? See, I want you to ask yourself those questions about that, because you need to be loyal to what it is that I believe that you were created to do while you're here on this earth. You see, we all were created to do something pretty amazing, but you have to tap into that, and you have to be faithful or loyal to do that what you have intended to do. If it's writing a book, if it's starting a business, if it means being a wonderful friend, if it means being the best mother ever, the best father ever, whatever that is, be loyal to that thing, because you don't want to live in regret. And so, loyalty, I want to shift it a little bit from being faithful to the US Constitution, which is very important, especially when you're in the military, because you are aligning with um, that particular one, being faithful to the Constitution, Army, your unit, and other soldiers. We had to have each other's back. It didn't matter what color you were or whatever. We had to transform, because when the enemy came, we had to be on as one army marching in one footstep. That unity had to be tight. We had to have each other's back. So, in this sense, I want you to think about your loyalty to your assignment, the mission that you have for your life. You want to be loyal to that mission. I don't care if you failed 50 times. Get back up and do it again for the 51st time. If you have an assignment, continue going along that road until you complete your assignment. Duty. Fulfill your obligations and complete all tasks to the best of your ability. I love this one, because this is where I like to talk about accountability. You know, a lot of people like to hold people accountable, and I don't really have a problem with that. What I want to suggest is, when I have self accountability, when I hold myself accountable to having the proper attitudes for treating people with dignity and respect, when I personally hold myself accountable to grow and to become the highest expression of myself, that's what I would like to see more of. I want us to hold ourselves accountable. There's nothing wrong with holding other people accountable for their actions, but imagine if everybody held themselves accountable to treating everyone that they know with dignity and respect, to performing the best, like to the top of our game. Like, it feels good to hold yourself accountable. I've been holding myself accountable with my health. You know, as I was working, and I would always say, man, it's so hard to be consistent in working out. And it was true, because I was exhausted. And so I would come home, take a nap, and then I would try to go to the gym. But it really just ate into my quiet time. And so now that I've been off, I've been literally made a commitment to work out every day that I wake up, so that I can take care of this vessel. And so, accountability, self accountability, is the best accountability that there is, because when I am accountable to myself, I take ownership for the work that I do. I'm proud of the work that I do. And so I encourage you to really work on that self accountability. Don't wait for somebody else to hold you accountable. This is about you and your brand and how you want to represent. Respect was the third one. Treating people as they should be treated, with dignity and honor. And boy, we could use more respect today in all walks of life. My journey is to hold that person in high esteem. I'm respecting you. I am going to do that. I'm going to respect you, unless something happens and you begin to start disrespecting me. And even in that particular sense, I will still respect you, but I'll respect you from a distance. You see? So, respect. Make sure that you, first of all, respect yourself first. Respect you. Listen to the whisper of your heart. Listen when your body is trying to tell you that it's time for you to make a change. Listen when there's something aching you, ailing you. I want you to listen with intention to see what is that that's causing me to be a little bit on the restless side, that's causing me to feel these negative emotions within. You respect you enough and love you enough to get quiet enough to see what is it that's ailing you. What is it that your soul is trying to tell you? Now, the other one is selfless service, putting the welfare of the nation, the army, and your subordinates before your own. Now, in the military, this is absolutely fabulous. And in leadership, this is good. Now, this is where I think we have to be careful at, because I'm going to be honest. When you put the welfare of everybody else in front of yours, then you have nothing left. It's like you giving out a whole slice, I mean, slices of your bread, and then you're empty. And this is where the well-being comes in. This is where our wellness and you being well with yourself come in. Because if you keep on giving and giving and giving and giving, and not pouring back in, and even stopping some of the things that are actually draining your energy, then you're doing yourself a disservice. So I'm okay with the selfless service, but first you got to make sure that that selfless service is pointed toward you. You can't keep giving out. You can't keep saying yes. You can't keep saying, yes, I'll do this. Okay, I want to prove this, or I know I can do this. Let me show you. Let me prove myself. Let me be this for this person. You have got to get to a place where you are very confident in who you are and the value that you bring, and you will not back down from that at all. You will just continue to shine in your space where you are. So be careful with the selfless service. There's nothing wrong with putting the welfare of the people and all of that that you're responsible for. You want to be that servant leader. You want to be that leader that's connected. You want to be that leader that loves people, but you also want to be that leader that loves people, but not at the risk of not loving yourself enough to take the time for you, to take the quiet moments for you, to deal with the things that are challenging you so that you can continue to be the highest expression of yourself. Honor. We're living up to the values. Really, if you're going to work for someone, you need to honor the commitments that you make. You need to honor what they honor. And so that's a no-brainer. You need to honor yourself. I'm getting back to you because this everything I do boils down back to you. If you haven't noticed that, I'm a personal development guru and I love taking care of me because I didn't take care of me for so long. And now I know how to do that very well. Honor, integrity, do what's right, both legally and morally. And that kind of goes with the self accountability. When I hold myself accountability, you are going to see me walk in integrity because integrity preserves you. Integrity speaks for you. You don't have to try to impress. You don't have to try to do A, B, and C. Your integrity will uphold you. And then personal courage. Do you have the courage to face your fears? Do you have the courage to continue to move on even in the midst of suffering? Do you have the courage to actually do something you've never done before? Do you have the courage to be all that you were destined to be? Do you have the courage when you don't know what to do to keep moving? Do you have the courage to face your fears? Do you have the courage to recognize within yourself that there's something off, that you need some help, that your attitude is not appropriate, that you've been treating people with disrespect? Do you have the courage to check yourself? Do you have the personal courage to do the things that's in your heart to do? Do you have the courage to be all that you were destined to be? That is my last question for you. Do you have what it takes to become all that you were destined to be? You see, sometimes maybe the journey isn't so much about becoming, but it's about unbecoming everything that's not like you so that you can become who you were destined to be. in the military. I had to unbecome all of those things that were me that were not showing up right. As a young 18, 19-year old, I had a lot to learn. I had a lot to learn because I had never experienced life. And so to pile on the layers of challenges that I had to go through to become who I am today, I am very grateful for. I am grateful for it. And it built so much resilience and fortitude and compassion and love for people on the inside of me. But it ultimately led me to loving myself so much so that I can outpour to all of those that I am called to pour into. So, anyway, that is it. Happy Veterans Day to all of those that are vets out there. And I am going to end this particular segment with a little poem for all of the veterans. And this is what it says: For the brave, to the soldiers who stand and those who have gone, in the quiet dawn and the battle's long dawn drawn, your courage and honor the world may not see, yet in your strength you keep us free. For those nights that you spent under silent stars, in places unseen, in lands afar, know that your service, your sacrifice true, is a testament of heart, of grit, and of you. You carried the weight of a nation's call. Through fears and trials, you gave it your all. And though some wounds they may not show, that's a light within and it forever will glow. So may you find peace in every scar. You are loved, you are cherished exactly as you are. In the halls of valor, you stand with grace. There's light within, and it's forever with glow. So may you find peace in every scar. You are loved, you are cherished exactly as you are. I had to repeat that part again. In halls of valor, you stand with grace, a hero's heart in time and space. Know that each sunrise is a thank you from earth for the courage you've shown, for the battles and worth. Hold hope in your heart. Let it bloom and unfurl. You are not forgotten. You mean the world. Thank you for your service. And thank you for listening to When the Moment Chooses You. I want to thank you for tuning in to another inspiring episode of When the Moment Chooses You. I'm your host, Coach Charlene, and it's been an absolute pleasure. Each journey we've shared today is a reminder that when the moment chooses you, the possibilities are endless.